And we are back on our podcast, Mr. Tomasino.
Hello, sir. How are you?
So I want you to call me sir. Refer to me as sir from now on, at least for the rest of the podcast.
Yes, sir.
Good, very good. You're an apt student. Oh man, so we're back, man. This is great stuff. Our podcast is making traction, and I'm not thrilled with the traction, but it is making traction. So that's great. Again, there's something that I have to often remind myself of whenever I'm on an endeavor such as this podcast, specifically referring to this podcast. You make a podcast like we're doing, and indeed this spawned off the Facebook Lives that I was doing, which you joined, and you said, let's do a podcast, and we do both, though this is very concentrated and different. But, you want people to engage, have a like or whatever, any feeling, or to join and to watch. You want to see the numbers go up. Basically, that's the essence of social media success, right? And when you don't see that, you can easily become resentful or even angry. Like, why aren't people watching this stuff? This is good stuff. Why aren't people who visited continuing to return? And that's a trap, and that's natural for a person to think that way, and it is a trap. And whenever I have that thought, I remind myself of a mantra that I say to myself. If I have a thought, then I go to my mantra, and that's simple. Is that the mantra is very simple. Is that no one owes me anything. No one owes me anything. You, Tommy, don't owe me anything. I mean, we have agreement, and I hope you keep your word. But even that, you don't owe me anything. No one owes me anything. When I say that to myself, boy, I just get relaxed. When I think, people should be doing this, where are the numbers? I say to myself, wait, whoa, no one owes me anything. Okay. So if I have only, 10 people watching it, or 10, or only, 10 likes and only 20, then realizing and remembering that no one owes me anything, I can relax, and I do relax. And then there's a second part of the mantra, and that is, whatever I want, I must earn, and I can.
Yeah.
That's the second part. So say, okay, I look at the podcast, only 5 people liked it, only 20 people watched, firstly, no one owes me anything, so that's okay, perfectly okay. And secondly, if I want success, say I want 100 likes or 1,000, whatever, it doesn't matter. Well, I can earn it. I must earn it, and I can. So whatever I want, okay, just say it's 100. Say if it's a nebulous number. I haven't crystallized the goal. I just want more. I want more. Right? Well, that's the direction. I must earn it. It's not going to be given to me. Give it to me by whom? No one owes me anything. You owe me nothing, nada. Right? If I want you to continue watching, I must earn that from you, right? I must, Tommy and I have an agreement and we have a relationship, absolutely. But we have to earn our success here, And the great thing about this mandate, is that we can do it. We can.
Yeah.
Because we're not at the level of success that we'd like now. Say it was 1,000, and we haven't even refined this yet. Just say it's it's hundreds and thousands. That's just where we are right now. We just got started. We've just begun.
Number 6.
Number 6 podcast. I believe certainly that no one owes me anything, and that I must earn success with this podcast, and that I can, and we will. Tommy and I will. And when I think that, when I say that mantra to myself, right? No one owes me anything. I must earn. Whatever I want, I must earn, and I can. I feel better. I feel better. I don't feel tense. I don't feel like envious of people who have success. in the terms of this endeavor podcast. I don't feel impatient. That's a big thing. I really feel a lot better. I feel relieved, and I even feel assured.
That's great. Yeah.
Go on.
You know that, if you stick at it, you're going to get what you want.
I mean, let's take it as an exercise. All right, we'll do some coaching here. I happen to be a coach. I've had a life coaching practice, and I closed that down, and now I'm working on a technological coach. But I am a coach. Okay, so let's do some coaching with Tommy here. All right, and it's just going to be a reiteration or an implementation of the mantra I just introduced you guys to. Tommy, do you ever look at our results with our podcast, including our video podcast, which is the same thing on YouTube, and you're unhappy with the numbers that come our way?
No. It's, for me, it's not really, it's not something that I'm even really, when you pointed out, when you pointed out to me, but it's not something that I'm even
only when I point it out to you.
Yeah, because it's really.
Let me ask you a question. You think you're better than me? You think you're better than me, Boston?
Not at all.
I love your response to that. No, not at all. That was great.
No, I don't.
I was only joking. I was playing with you.
I understand that that's the nature of this podcast succeeding, and us really, reaching people and getting the word out there. But at the same time, I'm not a numbers guy. I'm not even I have ADD when I sit in front of a screen, and I have a hard time clicking around and it's just I'm not a virtual person. Did
I tell you the story about when I thought I had ADD?
No.
I thought, it was like 15 years ago, and I had a lot of trouble concentrating. So I went to the VA hospital. I'm a veteran. That's my medical coverage. And I tell them, I said, I think I got ADD. So they tested me, a whole bank of exams, in their psychological department. Then they said, okay, all right. At the end, Mr. Petroza, we tested you, look at your results. You don't have ADD. And I was like, oh,
you wanted it?
Who am I going to blame? I got to blame someone for my lack of concentration and focus. What? It's me? It's me? Oh my God.
I want to blame this disease.
But it was a moment of being empowered once I said to myself, wait, there's no disease to blame or give responsibility to. Illness, disease. There's only me concentrating or not concentrating. Wow. I was like, wait a second. It's me. I have the power. I can't just say it's a disease. And so be careful of looking for that disease or even the diagnosis of that disease.
Yeah.
If you give away your power, guess what? You are now powerless. So you don't want to give away your power. All right. Even if you have a diagnosis.
I don't though. I'm not ADD. I'm just not conditioned to sit in front of the screen
Very good. And we were just talking about that. Tommy and I were just looking at some of the stats earlier for our podcast, and he's clicking, and we're sharing it. He's sharing a screen, via Zoom. And he clicked on something, and before I got to read the window that popped up, he clicked on the OK. I couldn't read it. Yeah. And I was like, what are you doing? I wanted to read that. And I know exactly where he was, because that's the way I was. And my guy who taught me about computers, a lot about computers, you got to read this stuff. That's the way you learn. You read it. If you don't read it, you don't learn it. So you got to take the time to learn. You got to take the time to concentrate. You've got to take the time to focus, to recondition yourself to do these things, to go beyond ADD, to go beyond short attention span. And that takes a deliberate decision and deliberate action.
Right.
But getting back to where we were about.
This is 10 minutes right now.
We're at 10 minutes. Okay. We like to go about 30 minutes in the podcast. Getting back to this exercise, if I told you, Tommy, listen, we only got we only got 50 people watching our podcast. We should have a lot more than that. I mean, what's going on? What's wrong with our podcast? How do you feel when I say that to you?
I would say, well, I don't think it's us. It doesn't matter if it's us. It's how much more are we willing to put into getting it out there? Reach, let's get more people, send it out to more people, more groups.
Right. That's very rational.
I don't think we should ever compromise what we're talking about for any other people to drag them in, because then that would be that we're, it's kind of like, well, what are we doing? We're not doing anything wrong.
What did I do wrong? What did I do? It's Tommy, right? It's not me. It's
Nothing.
Tommy.
That's the thing. We didn't do anything wrong.
For those watching, I will explain with a simple hand gesture whose fault it is. Okay? That's all. By the way, for those listening, I'm pointing to Tommy. Tommy, look over at me. I'm looking over at you on our screens. Okay, so you know what? We don't have to belabor that exercise. Let's move on.
Okay.
We spoke enough about it. Very good. Yeah. All right. Just to reiterate, we are going to succeed, Tommy, you and I, because of what we decide and what we do. Period. That's the end right there. That, wherever we are is where we are. So that for us, we take stock of that and figure out exactly what we are, and then we decide what we're going to do. We take action, and it's all good. It's all good. We're exactly where we should be. We're exactly in the right place. It feels great.
Yeah, man.
See, when you look at things the way that I've described, and Tommy was right on target, you feel good, and when you feel good, you can do better. And guess what? Feeling good is its own reward, right? A lot of times we feel bad about something because of the way we're thinking. That sucks in itself, not to mention now the obstacle that we have to get past. So it's always best to feel good now, because that's itself is rewarding. And now, plus, when you feel good, you tend to make better decisions and give yourself more energy to keep going. Being in a state is very important. Okay, very good. Let's move on. You want to...
well, this morning, in this morning's video, we touched on something, or you did. You asked me to remind you about addiction and your belief system, or belief in addiction.
Okay.
You want to talk about that?
Right. Now, we talk about beliefs a lot, right? Because that is the most important thing. The beliefs are what make your reality. But I mentioned addiction because, that comes up a lot as well. And addiction is really nothing but a maladaptation, but a very, very deep one. And a lot of people, they strive to recover from drug addiction or any other addiction. But drug addiction is what I'm most familiar with. I'm a recovered drug addict.
Right.
And they think it's some sort of magic or some sort of thing that they can't explain, or some sort, which is really quite ridiculous. What recovery from addiction is. I mean, I mentioned recovery is a magic, not addiction. Recovery from addiction is a magic, and it's a nebulous. Addiction is this quagmire, and there's some magical solution called recovery. Recovery is nothing more than changing your beliefs. That's all it is. That's all it is. Addiction is I believe that I'm a piece of shit, and that I don't deserve any better, and that I will fall, sometimes relapse. I will fall back to my old ways. That's what the addict believes. The recovering person believes they are not a piece of shit. They are a person of worth, a person that deserves good things, and that they don't relapse, and that they don't fall into their old ways. Notice the difference in those two belief systems? They're diametrically opposed.
Absolutely.
And what happens in the recovery is one goes from the former belief system to the latter one. That's all it is. And you can take that, and that's an extreme example, right? Of the addict's belief system. You could take the same exact parallel to everything else in a quote unquote a normal person's life, right? A supposed normal person. Same thing. Wherever you are, and you want to achieve something, and you haven't, either you think you can't, or you just something that is daunting to you. All you've got to do is change your beliefs from where you were to where you want to go. You have to become the person who achieves the things that you want to achieve with your beliefs now. And once you start doing that, it will manifest, it will express. Will you fall down? Absolutely. Those are the things you need to learn the most. And they are essential in your journey in learning those things. Falling down, getting up, you thought something was the case, and then you find out, oh, it wasn't the case. I've got to adjust that, or I have to think something totally different. Great. Absolutely. Thank God for that in the most non-religious way possible, and keep going. So addicts and recovery from addiction has a lot to teach everyone. In that extreme example, for success, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's about changing your beliefs so that you become the successful person that you want to be. Be that now. Be that now.
And action.
And
following through with action is huge.
The actions will tell the truth about your beliefs. Okay. That's that simple. The proof's in the pudding. The actions will tell the truth. Now, there's a great saying in the rooms of NA and AA, which is Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous, which I used to be a member of both groups. And that is that they would say, bring the body and the mind will follow. And there's some truth to that, but it's a catch-22. I mean, if I have in my mind that I shouldn't go to a meeting, there'll be no, how am I going to bring the body? Right? The mind must come first, that you're going to do something about your problem, and that you're actually going to show up and go through the discomfort, show up at a meeting where you can start adopting recovery principles. That's where you start, at the meeting. And then you manifest it in your life outside the meetings. But so it's kind of a misnomer that bring the body and the mind will follow. No, the mind must go first. Okay.
I used to think beliefs could not be changed.
That's the epitome of the addict mind.
I also am a recovering addict. That's
there can be one. It cannot be two.
There's two of us here.
Oh my God, the shame, the disgrace.
Yeah. And I was convinced. I said, I believe these things. This is me. This is my life. This is my conviction. I can't change. How am I gonna change my beliefs? That's me. That's who I've become. And I didn't realize that habits can be formed, and beliefs, you can change your ideas about yourself through changing your habits.
I'm proud of you for admitting that, Tommy.
Yeah, thank you.
Because it's often very prudent to keep that undisclosed, because people, especially malicious people, can use that against you. But you admitted it, which is awesome, man. That's great, and I've done it, and you follow suit, and that's great. Because I don't have anything to be in terms of addiction. I don't have anything to be ashamed of. Not to say that I haven't done shameful things. That's ridiculous. Everyone has. I tell you that the thing that I'm, as I mentioned in this morning's Facebook Live, the thing that I'm really ashamed of, in a way that I easily forgive myself, and I forgive myself all the time, is that I'm not the person that I could and should be now. As much as I've changed, I want to be so much better than I am now, and I forgive myself. I forgive myself on the one hand, and I love myself on the other, and it's great. It's fantastic. I've got nothing to that past of addiction, of being an addict. I look at that as how I can help people. How I've went beyond the addiction. I've learned. I've evolved. I'm on a path. Quite frankly, I'm on a path of enlightenment. I want to become enlightened, right? And I have
Exactly.
revelations. I have epiphanies. We're at
Amen.
20 minutes in. Okay, very good. And it's a wonderful thing. But what is it? It all comes down to changing your beliefs. That's what it all comes down. And you can take that for every person, non-addict, addict, doesn't matter. Changing your beliefs from the things that limit you to the things that empower you.
Absolutely.
It's that simple. Whatever it is, in every single endeavor, this is the truth for everything. Okay, great stuff, man. Really, really great, man. And of course, that will come up periodically. All right, enough of that. You want me to do my daily passage?
Yes. I'll
do it, Tommy. It's time for our daily passage. On our Facebook Lives, I read from a daily passage calendar. But that's a different calendar. This one is from 1999. You see my mountain climber, and this old calendar, but the knowledge is always
timeless.
Timeless. Thank you. And we got, what's the picture? Can you see the picture? It's some sort of wilderness.
Yeah, it's like a field and some sky. It's like a landscape.
Yeah, field and mountains beyond it. Blue sky, beautiful. Okay, here we go. Focus beyond the glory on the greatness. Wow, that's great. So there's two things, right? Glory and greatness. This passage is saying focus beyond the glory. The glory is like the vanity, right? The ego.
The praise, yeah.
The ego. But the greatness, he's saying they're saying the greatness is
the bigger picture.
The bigger picture. The change that you bring in the world, or the heroic act, or that's the soul. You can break this down into ego and soul. We talk about this a lot. We talk about the ego and soul a lot. And I say that, of course, there's a saying, your ego is not your amigo, which we say in the rooms of the 12-step fellowship a lot. But okay, that's true, but it also is. It's a necessary part. It's your self-identity. But on the journey of enlightenment, it must disintegrate. It must deflate and disintegrate on the journey of enlightenment, because you must have this deliberate act or direction.
Yeah, it's like a GPS, your ego.
Yeah, you need it, but you want to get rid of it. It's like think of it. You know what? I have this model of the Saturn V rocket on my desk. Right. This is the rocket that brought men to the moon. In the late 60s and early 70s. Saturn V rocket brought all the Apollo missions to the moon. And this is a multi-stage, this is totally spontaneous, by the way. I did not plan this. It is a multi-stage rocket. Stage 1 is like down here. That gets them certain, like 8 miles up. Stage 2 gets them to the stratosphere or whatever. And then there's stage 3, and then there's just this part. So it's multi-stage. The ego is like the first stage. You need it. You need it to get you to accomplish things and to do things and to set you in direction. The soul is always with you, but you need the ego too. The ego is just as essential. It's not superfluous. It is essential. That's why God gave it to us. I say that in the most non-religious way possible. Whenever I bring up God, it's always in the most non-religious way possible.
As secular as you can be.
Yes. And that we need both the ego and the soul. But on the path of enlightenment, which is to say, as you develop, as you evolve, you will disintegrate your ego more and more, so that you realize, I realized that it is always just a most wonderful illusion.
Nope.
This is the path that I'm on. And I learn it. Sometimes I doubt it. But more times than not, I don't. I'm like, wow, this is a wonderful path. I have this illusion, and I like this illusion, and I'm still needing this illusion. But I can see down the path, I will disintegrating more and more, and where I could even have a glimpse, just a glimpse, effervescent, where I can see me not even having it at all, where it's nothing to do with me, nothing to do with Tony Petroza.
That's what death anxiety is really about. Besides the fact of, fear of the unknown, death anxiety, I feel, is all about fear of unbecoming yourself, fear of not being yourself.
So,
Which also,
in that way, so death anxiety is fear of, is it that the fear of death, or is it the fear of not be, of unbecoming yourself?
it's both. Because well, you cannot be your ego and still be alive, right? People are enlightened. But I think it's linked in with death anxiety.
I see the correlation. I see the
Yeah.
correlation, right? If I die, then Tony Petroza doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Right? So it is a total enmeshment and embrace of the ego, right?
Exactly.
Right. So
You're living
all there is my ego, Tony Petroza, right? All there is Tony Petroza. So when on my death is the complete end, right? Right. And of course, people like you and I, well, I believe in it. I certainly believe in an afterlife. I don't know, and I also believe in reincarnation. But do I know? Do I know about these things? No, they're just ideas of faith, because I really can't.
I've heard of them.
I can pretend that I know, but it's just a pretense. It's just a pretense, and I really don't want to pretend.
Yeah.
I'll pretend when it serves me to become more successful, and not to deceive. Not to deceive, only to. If the only deception I'm interested in pretense is to tricking myself from holding me back. You see what I'm saying? If I'm holding me back, I'm absolutely okay with pretending and tricking myself so that I don't do that to myself anymore. You get that?
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's the only pretense I want to be involved with. And sometimes I'll do that.
I need to do that some more.
Yeah, exactly. It's a wonderful thing. But in terms of deceiving others, no, I don't ever want to do that. And I don't want to pretend that I know what I don't know. And I don't pretend that faith is knowledge. Faith is not knowledge. Faith is faith. Faith is something I hope is true, and I may believe it to be true, but it's only a hope or a faith of it being true. It was perfectly okay and even awesome, even necessary. Talked about 12 steps. The third step is how you do it. The third step is faith that you can stay clean.
Yeah.
Right? Through your higher power. Indeed, that's how I did it. So the greatness is the thing. The greatness, you can say that the greatness is the soul and the glory is the ego. And if you believe in the soul, and I do, and if you don't, just you could just explain it or understand it as the part of you which is most excellent. Okay, part of you is most excellent. Part of you which is your best values and you demonstrating them flawlessly. Okay, consider that the soul of you. All right, and that's where it's at. It's this yin yang of the ego and the soul, of the focus beyond the glory on the greatness. That's where it's at. It's the 1-2 punch. All these metaphors. We have a perfection of life, and I say that. What do I call it? Perfection, because that's how it is. That's because it's there. It's there. It's only my looking for imperfections where I see it. I think life really is actually perfect as it is. Do I have what I want? No. Do I have everything I need? Actually, I do.
Yeah.
But I want a lot more. So I have a healthy unsatisfaction. All right.
I like that. Yeah.
Healthy unsatisfaction. Yeah, I want a lot more. But life is great, and I have what I need, and we're gonna have those 100 subscribers, Tony. I call Tommy Tony. Tommy is me. I'm Tommy. We're gonna have 100 subscribers. All right. And it's great.
A healthy satisfaction and not a starved craving.
So
I like that.
Oh, by the way, on the back of this calendar was written reciprocity in 2 codes, DT and DS, and give and go first. That was slashed out. I really would like to find out what I was doing with this. But as is our custom, we're going to burn the paper so it's symbolically burnt in our psyches. Okay, so burn it into your psyche. I like that. All right, what our passage was, burn it into your mind, burn it into your psyche. If you're just listening, I just burnt it and I put it into the tin. Very good. Okay, that was very good. I enjoyed that passage and that discussion with you and that discourse. Now it's Tommy hour. It's not an hour. It's not an hour. Tommy will talk about some great Buddhist stuff, and I'll give Tommy the spotlight.
This is passage number 6 from the Tao Te Ching,
which is written by Lao
Tzu. Yep. The spirit of the fountain dies not. It is called the mysterious feminine. The doorway of the mysterious feminine is called the root of heaven and earth. Lingering like gossamer, it has only a hint of existence. And yet when you draw upon it, it is inexhaustible.
Okay, hold on. Let me stop. Gossamer definition.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a flower.
Gossamer means a fine filmy substance consisting of cobwebs spun by small spiders seen especially in autumn.
There you go. It's like a web, like web. Thank you. Okay, so go back to the gossamer statement.
Gossamer thin. Lingering like gossamer, it has only a hint of existence. And yet, when you draw upon it, it is inexhaustible.
Wow.
Want me to read it again?
Yeah, I want you to read it again because there's some deep stuff.
Okay. The spirit of the fountain dies not.
Okay, let's disassemble. What does he mean by the fountain? The fountain is the thing that satisfies our thirst? Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like the reservoir, the fountain, the inexhaustible.
Right. So it's the thing that satisfies our thirst, right? We go to the fountain. Okay, so the
spirit of that dies never.
Okay, so all right. So there's no we're gonna interpret in disassemble here. The thing that satisfies our thirst will always do that.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I get. The thing that satisfies our thirst will always do that. Continue, please.
It's ever present, yep.
And it's always available.
And this is the feminine.
Oh, sorry, repeat.
It says it is called the mysterious feminine. So this is the feminine part of the yin yang they're talking about.
Male, female, yin yang, absolutely. But you can't have male without the female, and vice versa. Okay, so this is the feminine part. Go on.
Mm-hmm. The doorway of the mysterious feminine is called the root of heaven and earth. The doorway of the mysterious feminine is called the root of heaven and earth.
The root of heaven and earth. So where we are now, it's the root.
Mm-hmm.
And where we want to go, right? It's the root, and it's the feminine. So the feminine, the part, the yin, all right, that's the beginning.
Yeah. It's the root.
The doorway is the beginning, the entrance. The entrance.
Yeah.
So this is the entrance. Okay, continue.
Lingering like gossamer, it has only a hint of existence.
Okay, so it's fragile. It's right. It's subtle.
Subtle.
It's subtle, fragile. You can't be heavy-handed about it. It takes there's nuance,
gentility,
there's fragility, right? It takes some soft stepping.
Yep.
Right? Continue.
Yeah. Lingering like gossamer, it has only a hint of existence, and yet when you draw upon it, it is inexhaustible. So it goes back to the beginning.
Right. There's no end. There's
no end to the spirit.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
That I feel like I just drank from the fountain just now, going through that with you. You know, that we can rely on this. I mean, this resonates to me as truthful, that there is a reliable and steady thing that
is ever present,
that I can turn to, that is so reliable that I can turn to, but I should, because of the rewards now and in the future.
Yeah. It's the web of awareness. It's the web of life.
You know, I got a little Buddhist little thing with that you hit with the
a bowl.
Yeah, I got it somewhere. I don't know where it is. I gotta find it. Every time you finish a reading or discourse and we understand it, I'll clank it, and that'll be the perfect ending for it. Because wow,
that's great.
I'm feeling it now, man. What about you?
Yeah. It's the opposite of annihilation, of oblivion. It's awareness, but it's egoless. You're still aware, and you're still in the cosmos, and you're still alive. You're even it's more potent than ever. It's hyper aliveness.
The infinity of it.
Yeah.
Right?
It's the opposite of destruction and oblivion, which is the male quality. Well, I'm not going to go that far.
Perhaps.
Perhaps.
But I like that, man. It's beyond this mortality that this wonderful mystery continues. The mystery is here now, and it's there later.
Yeah.
And it can be relied
on. It's always
on.
there.
And to look at it, to understand, to approach it with a subtlety and an appreciation of its femininity. If you're a man or a woman, I guess, certainly not a guess. If you're a woman and you're into that, you want to make love with a certain, you don't want to be ham-fisted, right? You want to do it with nurturing and softness and slowness, right? And a deliberateness, that's not jerky. I feel that. No pun intended about jerky.
No pun intended.
Using the word jerky. Great stuff, man. I'm feeling it, man. Wow, this is a good feeling. I like this. And the way I'll name this feeling. This feeling feels like nurture. It feels like warmth. It's a feeling of warmth and comfort and connection. I feel connection. I feel connected to you and a bigger thing. I feel like this gestalt, that there's a oneness. I feel a oneness right now.
Gestalt. I like that. Yeah.
It's really, really wonderful. Great stuff. I love you, bro.
I love you too.
Another awesome podcast.
Definitely.
Guys, this is our thank you. This is our Wednesday podcast, October 7th. I hope you listen to it. You've listened to it in its entirety. If not, that's okay too.
Tell all your friends.
Tell all your friends, and we'll see you Friday.
Yeah. Bye.